Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I keep saying this, but I actually find this just as exciting as I used to many years ago. In fact, let me be a little bit more professional here and tell you what we're actually doing in this section. We're going to be building. So we've built this already, the first tab, which you can see here. Got your calendar, wonderful calendar, which is gonna hopefully last a lifetime for you now that you know, and I've said it so many times. I don't keep saying why this is so useful. You'll now know better than anyone else when data is being released before even opening a calendar. I mean, what could be better than that? We're going to make it even better, right? We're going to actually have a database of what the data's been doing, right? Which no one looks at. You can imagine, right? You can imagine how despair I have most days when I look at what people are doing on YouTube and here and there, and it's just it's not even trading, it's more like kindergarten, right? Children with kindergarten, I don't know what they're doing. They're even looking at what's the data been actually doing for the last few months. How on earth they're making decisions based on one release. People say, oh, it's above forecast. It's just a shambles, really. I just don't have the words for it. Basically, like I said, we're going to drag you out of that now, and I'm actually going to get you looking at things in a proper, the way banks do, So my point was, when I started this, just excites me as much as it did when I first started in investment banking, almost 15-20 years ago now. Doing things in this way and starting to learn how to really understand economic data, fundamental data, starting to look at not just one data point, and actually thinking about, okay, what does that mean? Nothing. Oh, that's what that means relative to that. Now we're starting to get a picture of what the data is doing. Now, we're still not quite there yet, and we're going to talk about that much in this section. I'm not going to go into the analysis. We'll talk about this when we actually talk about what is ISM manufacturing PMI, how do they get the data, what does it mean, how do I interpret it. Got all of that exciting stuff to come. So you're going to see me even more excited, right? So great news for everyone. But for now, how do we make that? Now, you can't even begin to do that analysis unless you have the data. So can you see, when people are looking at data, they're completely lost. They're really doomed is the word. And if you've been doing that up until now, don't worry about it. Look at it in a positive way. Be excited that going forward now, really everything's going to change now, right? You're going to be looking at stuff properly, like a professional trader. Now, to do that, like I said, we got to build these tabs. Okay. So I know I've spoken a lot, but I'm saying this because I want you to know why we're building this stuff. Okay. We're not just doing it for fun. We're doing it so we can start to analyze the data properly. Okay. Not just, I don't even know what people are doing, but it's not a game anymore. It starts to become very serious, like a business, and to do that we need the data. So how do we do that? Well, let's get going. Basically, let's just crack on with it. It might be different ways of doing this on your Excel, but the way that I do it here, you can say new sheet. Okay, so you want a new sheet within the same file. Okay, so this file that you've created, the fundamentals dashboard file, I don't want a new file, I want a new sheet within this file, okay? So everything is housed in one place. We want to be nice and neat. I don't want to be opening up different files every time. Okay, just to give you an example of the end product, what we're aiming for, I want to be able to just flick through them like this. Do you see how? And the shortcut is just control and page down, but don't worry too much. You can also use your mouse. Rather than opening a new file every time, I want everything to be in one file. So I can access it using the tabs, right? So if you've never used Excel before, or even if you have, but if you haven't, don't get too worried about it. It's very basic. We're just keeping everything in one file, so we don't have to keep opening new files. We just use tabs. Now the first tab, we got manufacturing data. It's the first major release of the month that I think most institutional traders, in fact every institutional trader, likes to look at. So that's the first tab we're going to build, ISM manufacturing PMI. This particular section, I don't know how I'm going to do it, might take longer just because it's the first one. And you'll see the way that Excel works, we can then copy this and use this template This what we build, we can then use it for services. But to build this initial one, I'm probably going to do your head in, talking, but you know, at the end of the day, I keep saying it, I want you to do well. You know, I'm sure you'd rather I talk too much than too little and be lost. So, you know, hopefully you can just about stomach it whilst I'm doing, because I will talk a lot, but you know, I definitely want everyone to get it. That's why I keep saying it. So with this tab, we're going to build this one. Like I said, it will take a little bit of time because we're going to do it very slowly, and then you'll see most of it is repeated. So it should be able to fly through the other tabs a bit quicker. So what we'll probably do is we'll do this one tab just as a section in the module, manufacturing. So let's get on. So first thing, like you named this monthly calendar, just name the sheet. Double click here, ISM. In fact, I wonder if I can copy and paste it. I don't know if it works. Copy. So copy or Control C. You can use the shortcut. Double click there. No, it doesn't. Wasn't sure about that. I don't remember it letting you. It doesn't let you paste. Doesn't matter. You can type it. ISM manufacturing PMI. Okay. And what I like to do is up to you. Is I like to put the week. So I know it's typically, well, it's always week 1. So I like to put WK1, okay? Week 1, okay? I like to color the tab the same color as that. So if you right click, tab color, I believe it's that one. Yep, it is, isn't it? I want it to match that. Do you see? So straight away I know, okay, it's my kind of primary data, but not as important as payrolls and FOMC, okay? So we've got that there. Okay, so ISM manufacturing PMI week 1. That is what we are going to build some data for now. Okay, so it's that first one there. So hopefully you've done that. Don't forget, I like to have the grid line switched off. Now look, when you're doing this, I want to show you that you can do this with one screen. So I'm going to do it that way. You can, if you want, you can maximize this and have your calendar on a different page. Obviously, I'm got one screen to play with in terms of the actual recording of everything. So I do it this way. I have them half here, half there. As in, I've got got a calendar on the right hand side, and I've got the. By the way, I don't like to see all of this stuff, so let me just change that back to my preferred format, which is that. I've got it half and half, so I can obviously show you guys in one page, but you know, don't worry if you want to have this on a second monitor and this on one, it's fine. Or you can do, if you've got one monitor, that's fine. Just wanted to point that out. You don't have to have it how I do, but you know, I think it's perfectly fine for our purposes. Then if you go to view, as you know, I like to switch the grid lines off. Okay, so again, apologies, I know it's very slow, all the steps, but I want to make sure everyone gets it. So I switch these grid lines off, okay? Then what I like to do is have the table, okay? So like I said, this is what we want to end up with. Like to have the table, so on this instance, I've started on row 6. So B6, so let's go here, B6. Let's give it a name, okay? So what's the data going to be called? Well, we know it's ISM manufacturing, so copy that. For some reason here, Microsoft don't let you copy it, but everywhere else you can copy it. So it's B6, paste. Okay, and in fact, what I like to do is I paste as values, okay? So I can format it the way that I want to, because if you just do normal paste, it's going to format it in that way with the orange, and I don't want it to be orange in this instance. You can if you want, it's just what I prefer. Okay, I prefer values. Let me just Control Z that. Okay, paste as values. Okay, there you go. You might have to press paste special and you can see values. Okay, values. What that does is just gives me no formatting, okay, nothing, no formulas, just plain text basically in the text format. I can now format this the way that I want to. Okay, so what I like to do is I like to format it in the way that I want to, and we'll come back and format it afterwards. And we're going to put month, okay, so I want you to put month. Obviously this is going to be the month, that the data relates to. Don't forget it's the previous month. So for example, we know the first week here, first week August, manufacturing was released on the 2nd of August, but it's data for July, right? It's end of July, data for how did the manufacturing sector perform, or the survey suggests that manufacturers are feeling or performing, and we'll get into what it actually means, the ISM, but how did the manufacturing sector do in July? The data got released in August. So here I would put the month, July. It's July data, right? It doesn't matter if it's released in August, September, November. I don't care when it's released. Now, here I cared where it was released. Now I care about what month is the data actually telling me the information for. So for that, we're going to put the month. Then we can put the release date. So obviously I want to know, I was released on the 2nd of August, but it's for July. Then I'm going to put the actual release, okay? Don't worry, we'll sort all this out, we'll clean it up a little bit in a second. So release date, what was the data, actual. And again, you can have the grid lines on if you want. I just don't like them, but if you want them, that's fine. Forecast. Can you see here it says actual, forecast, previous. So I want to know what was the forecast, okay? Hopefully I don't forget, but at some stage during the course I will explain to you how these forecasts are. My bank, the investment bank I used to work for, we used to be part of this forecasting process that you see here. Bloomberg, Reuters, they'll be collating forecasts, and that's what you see there. And each bank will make a submission. This is a little bit off topic, and my bank used to be a major contributor, obviously being one of the biggest investment banks. We would contribute the economics department, tell them what the forecast is, and that would influence, along with all the other banks, what the forecast is. So I know quite a bit about this forecasting process, so we'll talk a little bit about that. But here we just want to get the data in. It's basically the forecast. What is the forecast? So we can compare what the forecast is compared to the actual, and you might be familiar with that process anyway. Because don't forget, basically when stuff is normally released, so if we go to this year or next year or whatever, can you see there's no data coming into the data maybe a couple of weeks before or whatever the time period is, there will be some forecast there. Gives the market a kind of clue as to what the market is forecasting the number to be, so they have some kind of inkling where we might end up. So that's forecast. Previous, what was the previous? Okay. Now typically previous will be the same as the previous month's actual, but obviously there might be some revisions taking place, and again we'll talk about that. If you don't know what that is, don't worry. And I think then we've got versus FC. So I would like to compare what was the actual versus what the forecast was. Are we above forecast, lower than what we had forecast? So we'll look at that. And then here, just bear with me for now, okay? I'm going to put cutoff. If you've not heard of the ISM manufacturing, you won't know what on earth I'm talking about. But when we come to do a section where I discuss ISM manufacturing PMI, I'll tell you what the cutoff is in detail. But ultimately, it's an index. So a diffusion type index where above 50 is good, generally, it means expansion. Below 50 means contraction. Okay, above 50 is generally good, below 50. So I like to have that 50 marker on my charts. Now, right now, if you've never seen this before, you're going to have no idea what I'm talking about. But by the end of when we discuss ISM manufacturing, you're going to have every idea more than anyone else. So don't worry. For now, just put it in there. So when we come to do our analysis and talking about it, we've got it nicely laid out. We can see the 50 line that determines whether the data is a good or a bad number, because otherwise 60 on its own, what does it mean? Oh, it's above the neutral level of 50, actually starts to tell us something. So for now, just bear with me, put it in there. So what we're going to do, right, let's just expand that a little bit. Release date. We'll clean all these up in a little while. You can expand some of them if you want, but we're going to do this in a second anyway, just to make it a little bit neater. Go release date. We're going to start populating some of these. Okay, so what I do, okay, this is how I do it. You can build this if you're good at Excel, or you're good at building data tables, and you want to do this a different way. You want to source your data from a different place. I'm not too familiar with, I know there's other calendars out there. Of course, I like the Forex Factory one. They've done a brilliant job of it. I love it. All credit to them. There's other equally good calendars out there. You know, some people use, there's all sorts, investing.com. I don't even know the other ones. I think there's quite a few. I think Bloomberg do one. And so you can collect the data any way you want, okay? Or you can go directly to the website for the ISM, the Institute for Supply Management, and you'll be able to get the data from there. And we're going to do that anyway. But I don't like to use the data that they have. It's highly accurate. It's because of the way it's laid out. I like the way that it's laid out here, and I can easily just copy paste it into here. Whereas sometimes I find, because what will happen, right? Think about it. The ISM does not release data for payrolls. The ISM does not release data for CPI, okay? The ISM does not release data for retail sales, okay? It's different people that are, different organizations are releasing different data. So that means the way that the ISM lay out the data on their website is going to be how they like to do it. So I'm then all over the place. Do you see what I mean? I have to copy data from this website and that website and this website, and it's all over the place. I don't care whether it's Forex Factory you use or someone else. Basically, just from a neatness and admin perspective, can you see, so much easier for me just to use one website, because all the data for every single release, can you see whether it's payrolls here? Let's have a look here. You see the data? It's all laid out in this format. Like one column, two actual, forecast, previous. If I go to ISM, can you see? Exactly the same. It's the same layout. I can just copy and paste the data into my Excel in that way. If I don't do it this way, then I have to go to the ISM website, okay, which we're going to do together. So you can see here, Institute for Supply Management, and there'll be ways, we'll look at it later, don't worry, about how you can download a view report, past month reports, and there'll be ways I'll show you later for each website where you can extract some of the data from. This is obviously the actual website. There will be Excel data tables you can download from here. That's the ISM. But if I want the payrolls, can you see? I've now got to go completely, look at the formatting, it's completely different. Data tools, series reports and customized tables, and everything's going to be laid out in a different format. My point is, you can do that. Okay, I wanted to mention this at the start. I don't even know anyone at Forex Factory. I know nothing about them. I don't care if you use them, and I'm not using them because I think they're better than anyone else, or you have to use them, or I get paid by them. I don't. I get nothing from them, okay? I just think that they've done a fantastic job of laying everything out in one go like this. I can literally copy and paste this. We're going to do the best of both worlds. I'm going to use this to populate, but then we are going to go and have a look at some of the websites, and when I actually do analysis with you on the ISM or on payrolls, for example, Bureau of Labour Statistics, can you see we're actually going to go and have a look at some of their data. We're going to have a look at the website. I'm going to show you stuff, obviously get to know each one, but for the purposes of putting the data together, this for me is the best place. Might change in the future. Obviously they might change their formatting, in which case you would have to look for a different place to get the data from. But for now, just telling you all of this because I want you to know why I'm taking it from here and not going straight to the ISM, for example, because like I said, every single agency, and then you've got different agencies for all of this data, it will just start to get completely messy. I'll have to format it and do it all slightly differently. Here it's all the same. So anyway, without much further ado, that is why I do it that way. So what I want to do is I want to get historical data, okay? Now what I like to do, you can do it differently to me. There's no rule on this, okay? As you can see, the way I've been doing it up until now, I like to have 2 years, a couple of years worth of data. You can expand that further out if you want, you can have less. I kind of find a couple of years is nice to tell me how the current business cycle has been doing, or if we've just come out of a business cycle transitioning into a new business cycle. economic cycle, I should say, you know, boom, bust, that kind of thing. I feel like a couple years gives me plenty of data. With GDP, I think I do go slightly further, and I do go quite a few years. Yeah, I got quite a long period of time, about 10 years, obviously GDP being the most important piece of data. But in terms of all the others, for me, a couple of years is plenty. So that's what I would suggest. We aim to get a couple of years worth of data. So, you know, that can be around 24 months, right? So if you want, I don't do this, but for now you can just put 24, 6, and what you do, you can just put the numbers there, highlight them, and then you see the corner thing, drag it down. So it's 24, 23, 24, okay? So you've got 24. So you're looking to get 24 data points, a couple of years. Now, obviously, when you come to do this course and you're building this, you're going to be at a different point in time to me, okay? Right now, as I've said very jokingly, but quite seriously, I'm doing this on a New Year's Day weekend. So I'm on the 2nd of January 2022. You may be on the January 23, 24, 25. You may be in the middle of the year. It could be February, March, April, June, July, August 2024. I don't know, or 25, 26, 27. It really doesn't matter, okay? Just look at what I'm doing as an example and adjust according to where you are. It will make absolutely no difference. I just happen to be in January 2022, so I want to go back 2 years. So when was the last manufacturing data that was actually released? It was last month, first week of December. Can you see in January 22 right now, I've got manufacturing coming up in a couple of days. Today is Sunday. It hasn't been released, okay? So I'm not interested in that right now. We can use that for forward looking when we've got a calendar, but I can't actually put that number on a graph because it hasn't been released yet, okay? So I want everything going back 2 years from the latest release. So what you need to do when you're building this, go in the calendar, find the last release that actually gave you a number, okay? So for me, the last one was last month. So it was here, wasn't it, somewhere? There you go. Can you see it? For me, it was December the 1st. Open it up, okay, and then click more, history. Okay, keep going down. There you go. Can you see the history? I want to turn this into a graph, okay? That is what I'm looking to do. Do you see here, above 50 indicates expansion, below indicates contraction. That's why I want to have the cutoff for 50. So the first thing you're going to do is in the cutoff, put 50, okay? And don't worry, we're going to talk about 50, we're going to talk about it again. If you don't know why it is that, when we talk about the ISM, and I actually discuss it, then I'll tell you that. But for now, just put 50 in the cutoff. Okay, so now what I want you to do is, this number got released in December, but what was it? It was the number for November, okay? So for me, I'm going to put November here. If you're in March, you're going to put February. If you're in January, you're going to put December. Do you see what I mean? It's going to be the month that the data relates to is always going to be the month before the release date. Okay, so for me, that's November. And I'll even show you. Look at the latest release. It was released on the 1st of December. If you click on latest release, manufacturing, view report, can you see? It's November 2021, right? It was released on December the 1st, but it's for November, and I'll even prove it to you. 61.1, there you go. Can you see that? 61.1, okay? Released in December, 61.1, 61.1, but can you see it says November, okay? It's for the previous month, so I want to put November there, okay? So where it says November here, that's for October. Where it says October, it's for September. Where it says September, it's for August. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Pretty straightforward. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pre-populate a lot of this. Okay, so November, October. Obviously this will just go back 1 month at a time, September. Okay. Then I want you to drag it again, drag it down, and it should populate. So it's in sort of chronological order, okay? So look, can you see? January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, okay? So can you see I'm going back 2 years? I'm now going back 2 years, exactly 2 years. Yours might be slightly different to me, obviously depending on when you're doing this. You might have like, it starts in March and goes back 2 years like that. Doesn't matter, okay? It's just going to be very similar. Then I want you to put the latest data into the latest kind of column. When was it released? What was the release date? Well, it's December the 1st. Yours might be different. So I'm going to put 1st of December. For me, it was 2021. Okay, can you see that? Now, obviously, if you're in the US, I know your date formats, or somewhere else, your date formats might be, I think it's December and then 01. And don't worry about that. It doesn't matter. Who cares? It's all the same thing. I'll show you can change your date formatting and all that. And you might have a US version of Excel, which is pre-populated to be like this. So actually, I think Forex Factory is American. So that's why it says November 1st, right? December 1st. I'm in the UK and we like to put the number of the month first. So that's how I have it, but don't let it throw you off. Then start populating with data. I want actual forecast previous, okay? Actual forecast previous. So what you do, I just copy it like that. Copy. Paste special, okay? Now, if you keep source formatting, do you see what's going to happen? It's going to become like that, okay? You can leave it like that and then copy these 3 cells underneath and use the format painter, and do that. And it will make it normal, but I don't do that. I mean, what I like to do is I click copy. And then do you remember the way we were copying the other stuff? I paste, match destination formatting, okay? Can you see there? Now I've got 61.1 was the actual, the forecast was 61.3, 60.8. Beautiful, right? Now what we're going to do is we're going to populate all of this, but you'll only ever need to do this once. Can you see how we're going to use this? In the future, you're only ever going to have to update this once a month. When the new data comes out, you will just literally insert and you'll just put the new data once a month. That's all you'll need to do, and you'll have this wonderful thing in place, okay? The history, you just need to do it one time in this exercise and you'll never need to do it again, okay? So don't worry, put the work in now so you get the dividends later. Most people don't bother doing this stuff, as you know, don't see this anywhere. So what you do for the history, can you see the history? Very important that you do this and copy into the, because don't forget the current number is going to be here at the top. These are the historical ones, okay? So just copy a whole bunch of them and we can delete them if we take too many later. See how I highlighted all that? Click copy and we're going to paste it in here. Okay, paste, match destination formatting. Okay, there you go. You see that? Can you see, and I might be covering some of this with my head, sorry I am, yeah, don't worry about it, it's just behind my head. Delete anything under that 24, because we only want 2 years worth of data, we're not really interested. If you want to do what I'm doing, if you want, hey, you can copy, do it if you want. Copy all the data, go back, I think it goes back about 10 years. Do 10 years if you want. I just like to do a couple years, don't really need more than that in my opinion. Okay, now what we're going to think about is how do we want this release date to look. Now the way I like it is I change the format. So look, I go to format cells, number, date. Okay, now I change that. I like it to be a certain way. Okay, I like to see the day. Okay, so you can change this. I believe in the US this might be month, and then the day, and then the year. That's fine. You can keep that. This is how I like to do it. So if you if you go to custom, so let's do that again. Format cells. Okay. you go to custom here, category, custom, and then you see at the start, I put day, D. Do you see it's got the day now? Put another D, and then I put D again, okay? Then I put a space. There you go. Can you see? Wednesday, 01/12/2021. Basically, I want to see the day. I like to see the day. Is it on a Wednesday? Is it on a Tuesday? Is it on a Monday? I don't know. I just like to see the day, okay? That's just me. For me, I feel like I want to see what day was it. I'm interested. Was it on a Monday this week? Was it on a Wednesday? It gives me some nice bearing. I like to see it. It's not even compulsory. Honestly, it doesn't matter if you want it. I then like to neaten this up a little bit. I get rid of the forward slash, delete that. Get rid of that forward slash. And I put M again so I can actually see December instead of 12. Okay, so Wednesday, 01 December 2021. And I hit OK. Okay, so that's the format I like. You can change it, play around with it. You know, you can have Wednesday, December 01 if you're in the United States and used to seeing, or wherever you are and you're formatting slightly different. You can play around with these. You can mess about with some of these if you want. Okay, that's how I like to have it. All right. Now the slight issue that we have here, okay, is that, in fact, let's get rid of this 1 to 24. Okay. If you want, you can keep it. I just like to get it out of the way because I'm done with it now. I know I've gone back 24 months, a couple years. Now, the problem is, okay, if you copy that and you get the format painter and you copy it here, it's not going to work, okay? The reason is, let's Control Z that. Do you see that is in date format, 01/12/21, because I typed it in. Can you see that? It's in text format. Why that is, because we're copying off this website, when you copy that October 1st, okay, it gets copied across as text. So Excel doesn't recognize this as a date. So that's one thing. You won't be able to draw the graph, and it just be a bit of a headache basically for Excel to understand this, to change formatting. It just thinks it's text. It doesn't realize that this is November the 1st. It's the only manual thing that you will need to do. But what I need you to do, but it will only ever need to be done once, ever. Going forward, you'll never need to do this, just one time, is you will need to change these into date format, okay? Now, there might be some clever way to do this, and I could probably figure it out, but because I only never need to do this once, I'm not going to sit here and spend a day trying to write a formula, which I could probably do, because once it's done once, it's you know, when I've worked in places in the past and you need to do things every day for a year, it makes sense to think of an automated way of converting that into a day. Here, I'm not that bothered, so I'm happy to just do it manually. It's also quite nice for me to just get more intimate with the data. So what I want you to do is I want you to go through and change these manually. So for example here, it says November the 1st, okay? So I want you to make that 1 November 21. Do you see that? It becomes a date format. Convert it. 1st of October 21, 1st of September 21, 2nd of August 22, 1st of July, 21. 21, 1st of June 21, 3rd of May 21, and so on and so forth, okay? I'm gonna pause the recording here. I'm gonna quickly do it, and then, because I don't want you to sit here for 5 minutes whilst I do this, and then I want you to do this at the same time, and then come back. Okay, so I've changed all of those. Like I said, I just quickly cut the recording, and you can do this in your own time. No point you sitting here watching me do it. So we've now got all of these in date format. Do you see? I copied them, I made them into date format. Now it will work when I use the format painter. So this thing, format painter. Okay, it keeps going back down to that size. So click on 1st of December, copy, format painter, and then do that. There you go. Can you see? Beautiful. Now you've got it laid out. You only ever need to do this once. You will need to do it for every tab, but now that you've done it, you'll never need to do this again. It's only time you'll need to put the dates in is when the next month comes in. Drag the line, insert. I'll show you how to do this afterwards, so don't worry about this too much. And then the next month's release, obviously in January, 1st week, or whenever your next release is, You see when that release comes out, I'm literally just going to come in here, I'm going to type the date in, copy the data into here, job done. That's it, move on. 10 seconds, a month, I will spend updating this. But for now, obviously I need the background. I do have to go through a little bit of a manual process. So we've got that there. So let me go back to my last release, which was 1st of December. And again, yours might be slightly different to mine in terms of when it actually is. Okay, so we've got the history there. We've copied the history across. That's it. I don't need this anymore. I just don't need the site. I'm done with this, so you can minimize it or whatever you need to do. I'm now going to make this bigger, okay, maximum, so we have more space to work with and I can get the graph printed, and then we're just going to play around with the formatting a little bit. So versus forecast, okay, this is something I like to just put in. You won't necessarily see this on a calendar. You might. Obviously it wasn't there on this calendar. They have the forecast, but they don't show you versus forecast. I like to just have that in so I can see what the actual was versus the forecast. So to do that, you click equals actual minus forecast. There you go. Okay, so it tells me, oh, we were off forecast, below forecast. Then you grab that little corner and just drag it down. Easy as that. Okay, so I can now see versus forecast. We're now going to just format some of this, just neaten it up a little bit. So as you know, I like to have this in cells, so all borders. Okay, same for this. If you go above month and release date, put that in a cell, one cell. Okay. Now what I like to do, you know, I like this style of heading, the black with the white. It's up to you. You can do your own colors. Honestly, don't have to copy me. But these headings, so that, those two and these headings, I like to have in a black background with white writing and bold. Okay, can you see that? Looks nice, right? Just kind of separates all the headings and everything, and I can, and then I do like to zoom in like that, but don't worry, we won't do that now because obviously I want you to be able to see all of this. But just to let you know, as I've mentioned before, I do like to zoom at 85%. I like to have the view at. Okay, it's nice. Just I can see more in a little space, but we'll leave that 100% for now. Okay. What I also like to do, again, this is up to you. Sorry, I said we're done with this, but I do like to just. Sorry about this. Might be covering some of that. I do like to put the frequency at the top. Okay, so released monthly, first business day, blah, 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 just a little bit of information. Match destination formatting. I don't really put, you can, if you want, you can build this in a little bit of a way that you feel might be beneficial to you. You can put some of this information in there. Okay, I don't, I mean, I know all of this anyway, so I don't really bother. But if you want, you can put some of this information in the corner or something. I don't really bother doing it, but if you want, nothing wrong with that. You can copy all of this stuff and maybe just put it out of the way somewhere if you want, quite handy to have it. I don't necessarily bother, like I said, but I want to give you that option. So this I like to put in bold. Okay, released monthly on the first business day after month ends, ISM manufacturing, nice and neat, everything looks there. Versus forecast, I want it to highlight when it's negative or positive, okay? It's up to you if you want to do this. I like to do it this way, okay? So what I do, highlight everything. Can you see I've got it there? Versus forecast, okay? To do that, very easy, okay? Highlight everything versus forecast. Go to conditional formatting. Highlight cell rules. If it's greater, highlight cell rules greater than, click on that. Right, you need to change this to 0. Format cells that are greater than 0. I like to do it in green and then click OK. Can you see? So if any time we're above forecast, I see that as a good thing. It's green. Okay. So can you see here? The actual came in above forecast. Okay. Grand scheme of things, it didn't matter because we're above 50 anyway. But you see, these are all positive numbers. Can you see how much easier it is for me to see that? Come compared to before, where everything was just like that. You can't see that. Okay, so that's how you do that. If you make a mistake, Control Z, undo, Control Y, redo. Okay, so you can use those. We now need the ones that are below forecast to be red. Conditional forecasting, highlight cell rules less than. Click 0. Okay, and now it's already got that red, light red fill with dark red text. Okay, there you go. Can you see that? That's how I have it, like that. Now, every time you have a number above or below forecast, it will show you that, highlights it quite nicely. I like to just, it's just a bonus, okay? It's nothing. If you don't want it, it doesn't matter. It's not going to make that much difference. I can just see, oh, think how you could use this. The last 3 releases were above forecast. So it's got kind of a positive bias to it, the actual results versus forecast. I'm not expecting a massive negative number versus the forecast, because generally the economists that are putting the forecast forward have been underplaying it recently. Can you see that, how it might help you? Obviously then we got this latest release that came in around the same number, so it didn't make a difference in the end, but that's how you can use it. Okay, so I'm just making sure I've got everything covered. We're now going to build this graph. Okay, I'm going to show you how to build this graph. Very straightforward, kind of straightforward. Insert, believe it's this one. Okay, chart, line chart. So insert, yours might be slightly different. You might have insert chart or something. Just look for the chart function. This is how my Excel is laid out. Obviously it depends on the version you're using, but typically it is under insert, graph, chart, and whatever. Insert a graph or a chart. I use this one, but it doesn't matter. Just use any chart that you like. Okay, so there's a, starts off blank, but then what you do is right click. So you might have a wizard, right? And the wizard will do all of this for you in terms of giving you the options. I like to do it a little bit more manually so I can customize it, but it really doesn't matter. Honestly, you get the same result. Select data. Okay, select data. So we're going to tell the chart what's the data. Okay, there's different ways of doing this. You can do it in various ways, and you might be familiar with this and do it your own way. I'm going to do it my way. So the way I like to do it is I like to add the series individually. So add, okay, what's the series name? Okay, you can leave it blank, or you can type in the name, ISM manufacturing. I like it to reference this cell. Okay, the reason is if I ever change the name or I'm using a different sheet, it will automatically recognize that the name has changed. Okay, so I like to have that ISM manufacturing PMI. Can you see? And it's already populated that for me there. Thank you very much to Excel and Bill Gates. Series values, you see that? Okay, click on that, and I'm now going to go and select. All I want to see is the actuals. Okay, what are my data points and how have they changed over time? So click on that. Okay, can you see that? Okay, starting to look kind of how I want it to look. And click on OK. Then click on horizontal axis labels. Click edit. What we're telling Excel now, right now it thinks that's data point 1, 2, 3, 4. Assume some chronological order. I don't want it to do that. I want it to be January, February, March, April, right? So to do that, click on edit. And I need to give it the same data range that matches that column there, or that column that I'd chosen before. Okay, there you go. And click OK. Okay, now can you see that it's all there, basically, exactly how I want it? There is a slight problem, okay, with and it's not. We're gonna overcome it, so don't worry. But the way that Excel lays this data out, can you see? So if you hover over that 47.2, right, it's put it in reverse order, because what Excel assumes is you're going. It's basically going from bottom to top, okay. or top to bottom, sorry. So it assumes that is value 1, value 2, value 3, value 4, value 5. But that isn't the case, is it? This is actually value 1, value 2, value 3, value 4. Because if you think about it, we're going from January, February, March, April, May, June. We're not going November, October, September. You see it's in reverse order. So the problem we've got at the moment is, because of the way that Forex Factory lays it out, do you see how, and most will lay it out November, it doesn't lay out from January, February, March, going downwards. It lays it out going upwards. January, February, March, April, right? So Excel, the way that Excel is reading this data is it's assuming it's January, February, March, April, May, June, July. Do you see what I mean? Downwards. There is a way around this. So we need to now tell Excel, no, I want you to read the data in reverse order. I want that to be data point 1, 2, 3. I don't want that to be 1, 2, 3. Okay, so you need to reverse it. So to do that, you can double click, I believe you double click on the axis. Okay, and you go to, just checking here, labels, tick marks, category, here it is. Axis options. Can you see it says categories in reverse order? Click on that. Okay, do you see that? Now you've got your categories in reverse order. Okay, so just to repeat, double click. It's been a while since I'd looked at it, sorry, so it took me a second just to find it. You go to format axis, axis options, okay. It may be slightly different on yours, I'm not sure, but basically you can always Google it. Where can I find my axis options for my chart? This is the latest version of Excel and most of them should be here. It will say format axis, right? You select this, okay, not the alignment, this axis options, which is this, and then go down, okay, and can you see it says categories in reverse order? Okay, so you need to make sure your categories are selected to be in reverse order. The next thing we want to do, okay, is we want to now add the 50 line, that 50 line. So we know straight away if the manufacturing sector is expanding or contracting. Do you remember what it says here? Above 50 indicates industry expansion, below indicates contraction. This is how traders view this. And don't worry, we'll talk about the 50 when we talk about ISM, but for now we're just putting the data together so we can actually discuss it. Right click, select data. You'll need to add it as a new series. Okay, so at the moment, Excel is just viewing this as one series. Okay, that. Add. We're going to put a second series name in. What's the name? Cutoff. Okay. Well, in fact, let's leave it blank. Okay, you can put it as cutoff. I'll just leave it blank because I don't really need a legend or anything here to tell me that it's a cutoff. I already know it's a cutoff. It's fine. I don't. It's not like let me show you. When we have some housing, sorry about this. Where we have housing data or something like that. Do you see? And I can't tell what's orange, what's blue. Oh, orange is housing starts. Oh, building permits is blue, which we're gonna do. So don't worry, you've got all that headache still to come, which I'll show you how to do it. Don't worry about it. I just know it's a straight line and I know it's the cutoff, so I don't need to necessarily give it a name. But if you want to, you can. What values do I want? I want all the 50s. Okay. Do you see what I'm selecting? It has to match. It has to be in line with all of that. So they match up. So Excel knows to match them up. There you go. Can you see the 50 line? Click OK. And that's it. I don't need to change this axes labels. It's fine because it's done it for me. And I should, in theory, do it in reverse order. But it doesn't matter because every value is the same. Even if I do reverse order, what difference is it going to make? Nothing. Because it's all 50 going down, it's all 50 going up. It's the same. Okay, so don't worry about it. So now, can you see we're getting there? Almost the same as what I have, but slightly different. So what it is Excel is starting from 0. Can you see here? We're not going to get a reading of 0. If we did, we'd be in serious trouble, right? But you're not going to get a reading of 0. That means there's no manufacturing sector, and obviously there is one. So what we're going to do, what I like to do is I'll go back a couple of years, right? And it depends. Yours might be slightly different. You might be looking at this in a year's time and every data point may just be up here. Or every data point may just be down here. What I like to do, okay, when I'm setting my axis, you know, what sort of data do I want to, range do I want to look at in terms of top to bottom? Do you agree? There's no point me looking at this area. There's just never data in here. Why am I even looking at it? All it's doing is it's scrunching everything up and it's not giving me, you know, it's not letting me see the data clearly. So I want to get rid of these blank spaces. Even if you have a blank space down here, what I would suggest is something like 40 to 70 approximately. I think no matter where you are in the business cycle, that pretty much is going to cover most readings. Obviously, if you get an odd reading up there, you know, this could be a time period in the future, or an odd reading down there, then you can slightly make these slightly wider than mine, because I'm going to show you how to do them. But apart from that, I think that's good enough, 40 to 70. Now what you do, again, is the axes options. You double click on that, and I believe it's that one. So you click on, again, same area where you had the reverse, values in reverse order. But what you do is, axes options minimum, set it, I like to set it at 40, hit enter. Okay, do you see it's changed? And then the above, I like to leave it at 70. Okay, so we've got 40 to 70. The next couple of things look to do is just clean things up, right? So we're almost there. Can you see? It's pretty exciting actually. We're almost there now. I like to have these in bold, okay, and slightly bigger. Let me just see what size I have these, 12. So again, you don't have to do what I do. You can change these to different sizes, but I'm showing you how to do them. 12. You see, nice, bold. I can see what the values are. Next thing, if you click on it, you should come up with chart design. Again, you can Google a lot of this stuff. How do I add a title? Just click on chart design, add chart element, axis title. So chart title there, above chart. Okay, so you see it's added a title. We had it before, but it took it off because we put the cutoff and then it got confused which one we actually wanted to have on the top. So you can put that as ISM manufacturing PMI, hopefully I spelled that correctly. And again, we can have that in bold. Like things to be laid out nicely. I think I do have it a bit smaller actually. 14, yeah, it's a bit bigger. 14, no, that's fine. So that's that. We're almost there actually now. I think that's pretty much all of it. Okay, so can you see? Virtually identical, right? We've now got literally, you can see it there, the same sheet. The only thing is, I have this to be slightly bigger, so you can have yours. So I do, like I said, I like to have mine zoomed in a bit like that, and then I will make this slightly bigger. You can play around with this, but that's kind of how I like to have it, a little bit bigger actually, like that. But we're almost there basically, but you can see that there's many options for you, how you want it laid out. You can just play around with it a little bit. You know, I think I have OCD when it comes to these things. I like to have them looking very, very nicely laid out. It does, it makes it easier, right, when you come to do the analysis. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Pretty much got exactly as I use myself. Okay, there you go. Can't get any. It's the same data. One thing, by the way, I do highly suggest you do is go and check the data. Okay, so can you see you've got the graph now? Hopefully you've got the same graph as me. Go and check the data. Okay, so you see here there's this graph option. Okay, now unfortunately it is in slightly different format. Go and select the time period. So you see this, drag it. So I am starting, you can see data point 1 there, December, and for me, again, yours might be a couple years time from now. Mine is December, so January 2020, so that'll be December 90, what am I talking about? It's January 2020, so it'll be December 2019. Sorry, I had a brain freeze there. It'll be 2019 for me, December 2019. So can you see here, I'm going to go and find that. December 2019, okay? And yours might be different. Obviously, go and find your latest period. Hopefully you can see where I'm going with this. Just compare. Can you see? Make sure the shape look the same. Yes, it's bang on, isn't it? Can you see? Peaked there, comes back down, flat, comes back down, flat, gradually rising, went negative here in April, went negative there, April, May. Okay. What you will notice, even though it's perfect, so actually ours is more accurate. But the reason I say that, because can you see here, it says April, right? So what do I mean by that? Let me just point that out to you. It might not be so clear. Oh, you won't be able to. Can you just see when I hover my mouse over it, it says ISM manufacturing PMI point April, value 41.5. And then over here it's May and it's 41.5. And the reason for that is ours is actually more accurate, because what they've actually done is they've got 41.5 and they've put it as May. Can you see that? Actually, it isn't May. It was released on May the 1st, but it's April data. Okay, so we've actually done it better. Okay, we've actually got a better chart than anyone else, because look at that, April 41.5. Do you see? We also have it as May the 1st, 41.5, obviously because we've just copied the data across, but it's actually April's release. Okay, so it should be in the April bucket. So don't get thrown off by that. If you notice that was slightly different months, it's because ours is more accurate. Okay, but point is the shape. We just want to do, you see, I like to check everything. I do not like I don't mind making an error, but I don't, if it's unavoidable, you know, sometimes you trade and you don't know the outcome, and that's fine. Okay, but I don't like making errors that are within my hands, you know, then it's just starts to get a bit silly. So I like to just always double check things. You can see the shapes, as I said, going up, peaking. Yep, peaking and coming back down. Was that the low point when it came back down? Yes, it was. That's the point. You can do this on your own. Just double check. You see how they've got it at 50? They've got up and down below 50. We've got the same. Okay, exactly the same. You can change the chart types and stuff like that. Change chart types and play around with them if you want. If you prefer kind of bar charts, column charts, kind of play around. Have all types of different charts. Okay, now that you've built it, I like that. That's my preference. Some people like to have obviously a bar chart, and you know, you can play around with it. Okay, I don't know what the other ones are. I'm not going to bother going through them. You can see that is very kind of similar to what they have, the bar charts, and probably could get it to us. I could probably get it to a place where it would actually match that exactly, but I find it very hard to read that. I don't know about you, but see something like that, which is similar to what I find that very hard to read. I don't know what on earth. Even here, when I see this, I find it a little bit hard to read their chart. That I find it so clear. I don't know about you, but straight away I can start to do some analysis on that, right? I can start saying, hey, where have we been? Oh, we've been here, above 60 territory, right? Okay, heavy expansion. Oh, yeah, we dipped here. Okay, oh, we had a fast acceleration May, June time. Happened to be when the COVID situation obviously not necessarily subsided, but people started to get over it or whatever, and it happened to be the markets almost track this. Amazing how the markets have tracked. It isn't amazing. It's you know, we're going to talk about this when we analyze data and how markets take certain data. But look, I'm going on and on here. The point is, very excited to be able to not be the only one looking at this stuff, because so far I've been the only one, and it's gut-wrenching for me, excruciating to see people on YouTube and here and there talking about economic data, and they're just, I don't even know what they're doing, right? This is how you do it. hopefully this has really opened up your eyes and, you know, excited you as to how you can also follow a lot of this data, because it's not only going to be this tab, it's going to be loads of them. I just want to make sure I've got everything. Are we identical to that? Yes, we are. Like I said, the zoom thing, you can have it like that. Probably covering some of that. No, I'm not. You can even have it bigger. You can have it massive, right? You can have it as big as you want. If that's the size you like it, maybe I should have built it like that so you could see it better, but it's fine. You know, I'm sure you can see all of that. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. And then I will show you how you can update this, obviously, when new data comes in. Okay, it will be very, very easy for you to update. You're literally, I won't show you now, I'll do it as one module so you can do it for every single one of them. But for now, that's that. I'm going to end it there because it was quite obviously a long one for that. The next one, we're literally just going to copy it across. So you just drag it with control. Do you see? And we're going to use that as the template and make it services, and we're going to do that for the next one. Just delete this. Delete, yeah. Sorry, I know it gives a loud bell sound there. Hopefully that was useful for you. Obviously, if you've got any questions, you can email us in, but hopefully yours looks something like that. Can't wait to do the next one. See you in the next module.